In this video, we're going to use some basic Excel functions. We're going to begin once again by opening up our file, the name of which is FIT 1003 Chapter 2 Review. And we're going to click on the sheet by the name of Practice Table. So we're going to use some basic functions. The basic functions are going to be total, which means AutoSum, the average function, median function, lowest or min, highest, which means max, Countif, and then lastly, we'll be using the if function. So looking at our file here, or sheet, we have a very small table with information inside of that table. The key component here is this top row of our table or list. And the top row is commonly referred to as our header row or field names. We have a field name by the name of quantity in stock, which has a group of numbers here representing how much is in stock for the item. A field name by the name of item number and product name, retail price, and on and on. But what our objective here is to use some functions to gather up some information pertaining to this list or table. And we're going to start off by going into cell E4, and we need to determine the total items in stock. And whenever you hear the word total, you should be thinking of AutoSum. So we're up here in E4. We're going to click over here where it says AutoSum, but we're going to click the down arrow. And initially, we're going to go to this function called sum. And Excel will take a guess at what you want to sum. Initially, it's coming up with sum, open parenthesis, close parenthesis. It doesn't know what range of cells you want to sum. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our mouse and highlight from A14, holding down the left mouse, all the way down to the end of our table, over to this point here. So we want to sum the quantity starting at cell A14 all the way down to A68. That's our range. Check mark. To double check it, we can quickly double left click it, and it will show us graphically what the formula is. We want to sum starting at A14, colon means a range, all the way down to A68. And it's being shown right here. That's correct. Next, for our average price. Now our prices are in this column right here. But how we get those average prices is we have our cursor in this position, E5, come over to AutoSum, hit the down arrow, and then click on average. Excel takes a guess at what you want to average. Now initially it's taking a guess. You want to average the number right above here, E4. That's not what you want to do. You want to get your mouse, hold down your left mouse starting in this cell right here in D14, hold it down, and then trace the area or the range of cells that you want to find that average for. And that range should be, we want to average the prices starting in cell D14. Once again, we held our mouse all the way down to D68. Check mark. The answer should be 872. But if we quickly double left click it, it will show us what that formula is. Average. Starting in cell D14, colon means a range all the way down to D68. That's correct. Next, I'm going to do the lowest, and then we're going to do the highest, and we'll come back to median. The lowest means the minimum price. So we're in cell E7. Come over to AutoSum, hit the down arrow, and scroll down to min. Excel takes a guess where it initially thinks that you want to find a minimum of this range from E4 to E6. And what you need to do is with your mouse, click on cell D14, hold down the left mouse and retrace where we want to find that minimum price. And the minimum price or lowest price should be within the range D14 to D68. These are all our various retail prices. Click the check mark, double check it by quickly double left clicking. And what we find is that our minimum price is starting at the range or the cell D14 all the way down to, that's what the colon represents, it's a range, starting at D14 all the way down to D68. Let's find the max. So we're in cell E8. To find the max or the highest price, come over to AutoSum, down arrow, max. Excel takes a guess. That's incorrect. Right now, Excel is guessing that we want to find a maximum number in cell E7. That is not the range. We need to get our mouse and trace once again. Starting at D14, hold down our left mouse, and once again, we're going to scroll all the way down to D68. Check mark. Double check it. And once again, we can see that that pattern for the minimum, the maximum, and also the average price is always within the range D14 to D68. Let's go above and let's do the median price now. So we're in cell E6. We're going to come all the way over to AutoSum, hit the down arrow, and what we see listed are the most commonly used functions: sum, average, count, which we did not use yet, minimum and maximum. What we need to do is find a function for median. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on More Functions. We get a dialog box, and what we're going to do for median is type in median because it's not listed. Okay, in my case it is listed, but if it were not listed, we would type in median, click on Go. I've recently used that median function, so it is listed. So we're going to type in median, but once again, if it were not listed, we would type in median, click on Go. What would happen is that median would come up, it would be underlined. Click OK, and we get a dialog box that kind of walks us through that function. And we just need to highlight the range of numbers where we want to find that median value. And what a median value is, means it's like a midpoint where half the values are higher and half the values are lower. So we need to trace the range, once again, where we want to find that median price. We could have just typed that in. We could have typed in D14 colon D16. 68 rather. Or we could trace it. But we want to find the median price within the range D14 to D68. Click OK. Once again, if we wanted to double check that formula, quickly double left click it, and it's showing us that we're finding the median from D14 to D68, and it's graphically being shown. Next, we're going to click in cell A10. And what we're going to do is we want to count the number of instances where the category is herb or herbs, or seasoning types are herbs. We should probably even just change this to category. So where the category is herb. Once again, we have this field name category. We want to count the number of occurrences within this column where herb is mentioned or listed. It's a pretty powerful function. And once again, it's not going to be listed right up on top here, but I'm going to show you another way of finding this function. And the function that we're going to use is called Countif. So our cursor is in cell B10. And another way of finding functions is by clicking on FX. We get a dialog box. Now Countif, I've just recently used it, so it is available, but if it weren't available, what you could do is type in Countif, click on Go, and once again, Excel will search through the hundreds of functions that are possible within the program. So we have Countif. It's been found, it's highlighted. Click on OK. And how this function works is that there's really two lines that we need to fill out. We need to highlight the range. So I'm going to highlight starting at G14. All the way down once again to G68. So within that range, the criteria is what are we trying to find or count? And what we want to count are those cases where the word herb is mentioned. So we're going to type in herb. Click OK. And the Countif function has gone in and counted up the number of instances where herb is mentioned. Quickly double left click. Within this range, we're looking for the word herb. If we didn't trust it, we could actually go in here and count them. And there should be 9 cases. And there will be 9 cases. So there should be 9 cases using the Countif function. Next, we're going to go in here in cell H14, and we're going to use the if function. And then this is a very common function, and in our example here, we're going to use it for inventory purposes. Now, the if function, no matter how you're using it within Excel or within some programming language, is always made up of 3 arguments. The first argument is the condition. So line 1 is the condition. Line 2 has to do with if that condition is true, something happens. Line 3 has to do with if that condition is false, something else happens. So for instance, I use the example a lot of times is my condition is if it is sunny during the summertime, that's my condition. For line 2, if that condition is true, I go to the beach. And line 3, if that condition is false, if it's not sunny, I read a book. But once again, it's always 3 lines, a condition. Line 2 is that if that condition is true, something happens. And line 3 has to do with if that condition is false, something else happens. Now, applying it to our problem here in regards to inventory, how it would work is we're in the cell H14, and we're going to click on f of x to look at what that function looks like, to get a dialog box that will walk us through that function. Now, once again, if it's not showing, we would type in if, click on go. The function would pop up and it would be highlighted. We would click on OK. What we said is that the if function is always made up of 3 lines of information, or 3 arguments. Top line is the condition. Second line has to do with if that condition is true, something happens. Third line, if that condition is false, something else happens. So we're going to start up here for our condition. And what our condition is that if our quantity here in A14 is less than 150, so if the amount is less than 150, something is going to have to happen. If that's true, so we're going to click on line 2. If that's true, we need to order additional inventory. If it's false, which is line 3, then it's okay. We don't have to do anything for it. So right now our formula is showing if A14, once again, if we double left click it, it's going to show us. If A14 is less than 150, that means we have to order more goods. Otherwise, it's okay. That looks fine. Go to our fill handle and copy that pattern down. And if you just want to double check it, you can see right here we need to order. That number 110 is less than 150. That's why we need to order. This number here, less than 135, we need to reorder. Now let's keep that entire column highlighted. Once again, we don't have all that many products here, but if we had thousands of them, it would be difficult to find out where we have to reorder or order more goods. So we have the entire column highlighted, and one way to let our problems show more readily is to use conditional formatting. So we have that column highlighted. We're on the Home tab, and we can use conditional formatting to really have the orders show out. Now we can come over here and click on conditional formatting, down arrow, highlight cell rules, text that contains, order. those are the ones that we want to concentrate on. So by typing in order, and once again, we can change the colors to whatever color we want to choose. Click OK. And what's happening now is that our formula where we have to order are all in red. Or is it really purple? Purple/red. But it stands out to the eye. And what we did is we used conditional formatting to really make the orders show up. Now, from time to time, you may have to edit a function. And we have our if function up here. I'm up in cell H14. It's showing right here. And once you become proficient in Excel, you can easily go up and make changes in here. But when you're first learning Excel, probably the easiest way to edit a function, especially if it has multiple arguments, is to click in the first cell containing the function, and then click on FX. And we get our dialog box. It makes it much easier to edit that function. We have the 3 lines for the if function. We know it's a if function. Our 3 lines. We can go in here for this one here where we have order. And let's just type in reorder. Hit enter. Copy that pattern all the way down. This, once again, is if we had to edit our function. And what you can see is that everything has now been changed. And I mean, that pertains to any type of function at all by just clicking within it and then clicking on FX. Thank you.